Hey! The last digit of your like on this video by each who you are from Melon Playground, and the last digit of your subscription to my channel will show your Melon Playground item. So go down right now, subscribe and give me a like. Look at the screen. Notice the last digit of your like and your subscription and write in the comments who you are from Melon Playground. It's simple, if your like is number 8 and the last digit of your subscription is number 5, you're a lemon and a cactus. Show your imagination and enjoy the show.
And hello dear friends, you are on Melonfonk channel. In this video I will tell you about the new update 21.0 in Melon Playground. But before I start the video, as always, I want to say a huge thank you to these guys for being in my video. And if you want to be in my next video, it's pretty simple. You need to subscribe to the channel, put a like, write your top comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the cart, the link as always in the description. Enjoy your viewing. And now we've waited, finally, the long-awaited, biggest update in the last few Melon Playground updates. And this update, 21.0, will really not disappoint you. And this update is so big that even on the official Melon Playground channel, there is a video that lasts more than a minute, namely the whole 3. Which means that the developers are going to place huge bets on this update, and that's very cool. That not everyone has this update yet, but I think if you dig around, you'll find the APK file that is in the public domain on the internet. But I recommend that you just wait for the official announcement, it's coming soon. But I highly recommend taking updates from different sources. There is a chance of getting some virus. First of all, the game has become more optimized. Now in the Settings tab, we have a tab 30 FPS, which means you can limit the number of frames per second so that your device is less loaded and less hung, which is very cool. Write in the comments if you like this update so far, but I think this video is going to turn out really cool because there's a lot to cover. And let's start from the beginning. We now have a new voting present. In the last vote, as expected, the winner was, and it was successfully added to the game. It's actually a very cool NPC, and probably the coolest one there is in this game. But whatever. Anyway, in the new voting, we have 3 maps. And really in the future update 22.0, maybe they will add a very cool lava map, or acid map, or winter map. So vote. But personally, I would still like to add a lava map, as for me, it is more cool. Although this is my subjective opinion and just vote, everyone's gonna have their own preferences. Well, as for me, it would be cool to have all 3 cards in this game. They really deserve their attention. Let's move on. The next one we have on the queue to deal with is a new canned tomato and a new character, which is really very cool. And the most interesting thing is that he has a very interesting animation of the head. Every time you shake him, he really moves, and when you kill him at all, the jar bursts, and basically tomatoes come out, which is very cool, and really cool looking. Write in the comments your opinion. Well, it seems to me that at the moment this is the coolest character that is present in Melon Playground. It is also worth noting that when entering the game, now meets an interesting screensaver, which marks exactly the name of the game company, which produces Melon Playground. So respect to the developers, and in principle I do not mind. And pay attention also to the menu. Now the menu is really structured, which was not before, and this is actually in some places very much lacking, but I have already talked about it in my videos, and in principle, the developers often announce this information. So in principle, we already knew about it, but did not know when exactly will be added this update, and it was added in 21.0. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and put a like to not miss the next news. Very often I tell really very unique information. Well, let's move on. The next thing that was added to the game is new clothes. The arrival of winter, but why it was not added in the New Year update, I do not understand a little. Well, in principle, also not bad. Very suitable for canned tomato, as if it was just for this was all and stylized. That is, in fact, for a new map, namely for a new background. Also, a new transportation was added to the game. Actually, it was unexpected, and it's basically some kind of zilch or something like that. The new truck is really very cool and roomy. It can hold all the NPCs that are in the game, and at the moment there are 5 of them. And the robot? For some reason I decided not to count the robot, but the robot is also an NPC, so it holds 5 living NPCs that are in the game. The robot can hardly be called a living being. Also, the next thing that was added is a new block brick, which is very beautiful. Really, for the brick is just a respect. For buildings, it is just perfect, especially it can be colored, and colored blocks is always very cool, because it is an opportunity to create for players' Melon playground. The next thing that added to the game is the rope editor, and basically a huge number of new ropes, which hear you and the spring, and the ability to combine blocks to make them transparent to each other. There's a torsion spring and a repulsion spring. There's just some kind of rubber band that stretches really hard. There's also rope that's just with a weak tension and that never rolls, but that also has properties. There's a rope also that repeats the motion of one block relative to another. Do very cool mechanisms in the future. With this, of course, we will learn more in the next videos because it is still worth talking about the editor of the ropes themselves. Each of the types of ropes can now be colored according to his desire and dictates. It's a really great thing. Developers for this update is just respect. I hope this is the update they've been working on all along, and really so far, I'm not disappointed. Hopefully in the next videos, I'll go through everything in detail and, like the pros and cons of the update, in which I will somehow undercut the merits of the developers in one way or another. But so far it's very cool, and the developers only have my respect. But that's not all. Imagine how much I've covered before. And that's just the tip of the, shall we say, iceberg. Because now we have a new feature in the mod editor. Now every block you can essentially colorize, or rather not a block, but an item. Really, any item, any mod, texture, and give it a customization value to paint or not. For example, if you want to add just a blank block or an inscription, now you don't need to do something in Photoshop or, I don't know, some other applications. You can download it all and paint it yourself pixel by pixel, so it looks really cool initially in the game, which is just cool and great. You can initially set the color of any object, and not only that, you can color it however you want. And then you can color every single rope. It's just crazy. That's what the 20.0 update should have been, not what we saw earlier in the form of some weird unfinished update. And the developers have hopefully corrected themselves, and now updates will only be more frequent and only more global. Realistically, I want to go back to the days when updates were every 2-3 weeks. Firstly, and there was a lot of content, and secondly, and always, the developers pleased with their, let's say, constant support of this game. And always, the audience only loyal to these updates. Perhaps something I missed and something I didn't tell. If you did manage to get this update, then be sure to write about what I didn't have time to tell in this video, because in fact, some changes I might have missed in some way. Unfortunately, as we expected, the workshop hasn't been changed yet, but that will all be in the future. But that's the end of my video. You've been on the Melonfonk channel, and as always, I'll see you the other day.